only get one of these, baby. Only one.
I'm excited.
100. You only get one.
100 years. Damn, I'm about to bring my damn trunk. I have to dig on the tree.
Sharp ass blackberry, baby. It's a little brisk out here.
All she can think about was the motherfucking clock.
Probably was out here in July when we was out here.
Going in.
It's got it. What you say? It's got it.
Gonna take out 4, then we going in.
Tell me that should be hilarious.
He said out front, tell it, bro. You gotta take 4.
Motherfucker be on
You gotta take 4 to get in here.
Go in. You dedicate ourselves.
on the mic.
4.
Rededication.
That's what it's gonna be.
We got the uninitiated over here. The initiated over here. For the uninitiated.
This way, dog.
For the uninitiated, you need to take 8. You need to take 4 passes.
You got claps too. You got stations.
You got a lot of stuff in the back.
I'm good.
There.
Ace Club.
Hey Q. Yeah. Hey Q. Yeah. Hey Q. Yeah. You nasty dogs. Yeah. Hey Q. Yeah. Hey Q. Yeah. Hey Q. Yeah. You nasty dogs.
Games, brother, games. We at the 100th anniversary of the greatest fraternity in the world.
program along. I apologize for starting late, but we have a representative from the White House who was coming this evening to give a proclamation from the President of the United States, and we wanted to get him on the program early and then get him out of the building. But we've been in communication with him and he's stuck in traffic. So in all due respect to you, we're going to get started. Because as most of you know, and my friends in Kappa Alpha Psi, Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Kappa Alpha, still want to know, how do we get Obama to come to our convention? Okay? Brothers, we did it. We had the President of the United States come to a grand conclave. Unbelievable. And I have a photograph to prove it, okay? As always, we start all of our activities with prayer. I'm going to ask my dear friend, Alpha Chapter 1973, Dr. Bernard L. Richardson, Dean of Howard University's Andrew Rankin Memorial Chapel. Now, you may think I'm confused when I say that, but that is his title. But since he's been in that position, we had to move our Sunday service from the chapel to this building with spillover crowds in other parts of the university. He's done a fantastic job. Brother Bernard L. Richardson.
Let us pray. Most gracious and loving God, in you we live, in you we move, and from you comes every good and perfect gift. We give you thanks for the gift of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. For 100 years, you have made this fraternity a beacon of hope and promise to us, to this nation, and to the global community. As we pray, we are reminded that we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Our brothers who now rest from their labors in Omega Chapter. We give you thanks for their service to Omega. We remember and give you thanks for our founders, Ernest Everett Just, Edgar Amos Love, Oscar James Cooper, and Frank Coleman. Thank you for placing in their hearts and minds the desire and the courage to establish this great fraternity. And we thank you for the countless lives who have been made better because of what they did. And on this night, November 17, 2011, we, along with our brothers and cities across this nation and the world, give you thanks for the privilege of being alive, of being witnesses to the celebration of 100 years of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. We know, oh God, that to whom much is given, much is required. And so we ask that you give to every brother of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity the desire to rededicate ourselves to the cardinal principles of manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. And we who are beneficiaries of this great legacy, help us to make this great fraternity even greater. Help us to commit ourselves to ensuring that generations yet unborn will sing the praises of Omega far and nigh. And through days of joy or years of pain, whatever may be our lots, may we experience through our fellowship with one another, our commitment to one another, that friendship is indeed essential to our souls. And when that day comes, when we have sung the hymn for the last time, when we have said our last goodbye, in our heart of hearts, make us to love Omega Psi Phi. This is our prayer, O God. Please make it our responsibility. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. I told you that brother's special. He is special. I'm going to introduce to some, present to others, our Supreme Council. And then I'll start with the founders' stand-ins. As you know, at the Grand Conclave, we had 4 individuals who were assigned the task of representing our founders. Unfortunately, they could not be with us this evening, so we have sitting in for our founders some of the undergraduate brothers from the Washington, D.C. area. Along with our undergraduate representative to the Supreme Council, I introduce him first, Brother Tony Cobb. Stand up, Tony. Kareem Austin, Delta Theta Chapter, George Washington University. So I guess Alon Martin, I'm sorry, you bumped Kirsten off the stage. Next, we have Brother Purvis Rollins, Bossless of Omicron Gamma Chapter, University of District of Columbia. Next, we have a young man we're very proud of in Washington, D.C. He is the Bosses of Alpha Chapter. Brother Scott Hansford. Thank you, brothers. You may be seated. Okay. Don't you just love it when you have a plan and somebody gives you a note? I'm going to digress before I introduce our Supreme Council, because I don't want to stop in the middle of that, and bring to the podium Brother Thabiti Boone, who will introduce the Special Assistant for President Obama. He will be accompanied by our own Grand Process. Brother Thabiti Boone, please come forward.
Good evening, brothers. On a day like today, all you can say is happy birthday. Happy 100 years. And I tell you, brothers, if you don't feel what I feel up here looking at just a sea of brothers, this great purple and gold, this greatness, what you offered to humanity for the last 100 years, again, all we can say is just November the 17th is a great day. It's a great day to be an Omega Man. It's a great day to be purple and gold. This is a great day to be at Howard University. This is a great day, brothers, of Omega Psi Phi. With that said, as you know, we've been having a great relationship and partnership with the President of the United States, President Barack Obama, particularly through our Fatherhood and Mentoring Initiative. So we have a special presentation by Mr. Michael Stratmanis, who's the Deputy Assistant to the President Obama. He's the Counsel for Strategic Engagement to Senior Advisor Valerie Jarrett. He is also someone that works very closely on behalf of the White House administration and our efforts around this initiative on fatherhood and mentoring. He is my friend, he is my colleague, he is someone who loves this fraternity, respects this fraternity. So please, can you help us to greet White House Assistant Mr. Michael Stratmanis, the Deputy Assistant to President Obama.
Thank you. Greetings, thank you, Brother Boone. To the members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, to your Grand Basileus. Thank you. There he is. Thank you so much. I see so many good friends here. I can't call it all, but I want to thank you and greet you on behalf of the first African-American president of the United States. I have been so privileged over the last 3 years to share a partnership with the leadership and the membership of this great fraternity. I've been so pleased to be led by and to share the work with so many strong black men. It is a privilege for me, and I would not be where I am if not for those who created this institution, this organization, this fraternity, and for those who do the work with me today. The work that we do on creating jobs, the work that we do on educating all of our citizens, the work that we do to support our young people, the work that we do to support strong fatherhoods and healthy families. That work is crucial. It is needed now more than ever, and we could not do and accomplish what we have accomplished without you, so thank you. I have enjoyed the last 3 years. I look forward to the next year, and I look forward to 4 more. Finally, I want to read this letter from your president. The White House, Washington, D.C., November 16th, 2011. I am pleased to send warm greetings to you on this special occasion. Throughout our nation's history, fraternities have cultivated, supported, and celebrated leadership, service, and academic excellence. By recognizing these values and empowering members to reach for common goals, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity has helped open doors of opportunity for countless Americans to forge new paths to success. Yours, like our proudest fraternities, are marked by achievement and a strong sense of community, and membership reflects outstanding character and meaningful relationships. As you gather to celebrate the unique contributions of your fraternity, I wish you all the best. Barack Obama, President of the United States. And I want to thank you for your friendship, your leadership, and your partnership. I wish you the best on this special occasion. God bless you. God bless this fraternity. And God bless the United States of America.
To my brothers, I want you to know that for the 100th, when President Obama came down to the Convention Center to meet with us, he said to me and some other brothers on the Supreme Council, Omega Psi Phi, I know the work that you're doing. I appreciate your support on my initiative. So, to my right, we have not only his deputy assistant, but we also have Brother Tabidi Boone and Brother Bob Fairchild, who's leading our effort with that fatherhood initiative that's so important in helping us to rescue young black men in this country. So we say to the President, Michael, from all the men of Omega, we appreciate all that he is doing for this nation. And as he struggles to bring civility back to this discussion of our nation, your men of Omega will stand with him. So thank you, and please carry that message back to the President.
council. Before I introduce the council members, it's truly an honor and privilege to introduce to some, present to others, our 36th Grand Bosses, Brother Lord J. Jordan, Esquire. You will be hearing from Brother Jordan later on in the program. Brothers, you don't have to stand again until we introduce the Grand Bosses properly. Okay? Next to Brother Jordan is our Grand Keeper of Records and Seal, Brother Curtis Baylor. Next to Brother Baylor is the Grand Keeper of Finance, Horace Chase. Next to Brother Chase is our Grand Counselor, Christopher M. Cooper, Esquire. I'll start on my left, your right. We have our Grand Chaplain, Dr. Christopher Curry. Next to Brother Curry, we have the brother who's making things right for you in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Our Grand Marshal, Stuart Turner. Next to Brother Turner,
where's the rep?
We start with the first district representative, Edward Arrington. Representing the second district, Brother Rogers always brings his chapter here every year. Kenneth E. Rogers, second district representative. District representative. Next we have Brother Sanford T. Williams Jr., 4th District representative. Now we go on the back row, representing the 5th District. Brother Edward C. Moran, 5th District representative. Representing the 6th District, sitting in. Brother Ulysses Sweeney IV, 1st District representative from the 6th District. From the 8th District, 8th District representative Dr. Robert C. Scott. Representing the 9th District, Sean L. Brewer, 9th District representative. Johnny A. Lynch, 10th District representative. Next we have Cedric M. Spencer, 12th District representative. Representing the 13th District, Keith L. Major, 1st Vice District representative. And the seat next to him should be seated, but he's on the stage. The brother who's chairman of this overall activity, the brother who's a former district representative, former Grand Keeper of Records and Seal, Robert W. Fairchild. I didn't forget him. Next, we have International Chair of Protocol and former 3rd District Representative Gary C. Clark. Next, Brother Clark, we have a brother who's celebrating 49 years, 6 months in this fraternity, who is his chapter, Keeper Reconciliation Emeritus, the 3rd District Keeper Reconciliation Emeritus, Frank B. Patterson. And the brother introduced earlier, but is working on it again, Dr. Bernard Richardson. Also on the stage with us, and rightfully so, he's a former district representative from the 10th District, and he's the chairman of the board of the Life Membership Foundation, Brother Lawrence Luma. Let's give them another round of applause. They worked very hard for all of us. Now, we sent out some special invitations to former leadership in this great organization, former national officers, former district representatives, and quite a few responded. And if I miss your name, I'm going to, at the end, ask you to stand and identify yourself. I'll start with Brother Larry A. Brown, who was an undergraduate intermediate representative to the Supreme Council. Brother Brown. Former 3rd District Representative James R. Clark. Jimmy. Former 2nd District Representative, one of the youngest ever elected at that position, Brother Ted Greer. Former 3rd District Representative, Brother Robert W. Howard. Former 2nd Vice Grand Bossless, former 3rd District Representative, Brother Mark E. Jackson, Sr. I know this next brother's here somewhere. He's always beside the Grand Bossless. He's a former 2nd District Representative, Brother Benjamin Jeffers. Where are you?
Sit down and hop.
Former 3rd District Representative Robert Lewis. Former 2nd District Representative George McKinney. Former 4th District Representative Dewey Ortiz, Sr. Former DR from the 1st District, Carlton Pickron. Former DR from the 12th District. He probably gets the award for traveling to Florida because he's either in Florida or Alaska. Louis Sears, Jr. Former District Representative representing the 4th District, Raymond Tillery, Sr. Sitting next to Ray is a former DR from the 6th, John H. Williams, Jr. My dear friend, all the way from the 8th District, former DR, 8th District, Margaret Williams. Former DR from the 1st District, Brother Vaughn Willis. Former DR from the 2nd District, David Wharton. Former DR from the 1st District, Sylvester Wilkins. Another former 2nd Vice Grand Bosses, Mujiwa Bamaduro. Former DR From the 2nd District, now residing in Georgia, Dr. Norman Johnson. Former district representative from the 13th District, Cliff Minor. Former district representative from the 13th District, Cipriano Phillips. Former undergraduate representative to the Supreme Council, Tamar Mokhtar. Former 2nd District representative, our own dear Greg Eccles. Former 2nd Vice Grand Bosses, former undergraduate intermediate representative and Rhodes Scholar, Richard Taylor. Former Grand Keeper of Records and Seal, former 2nd District Representative, Terrell Parrish. Former 2nd Vice Grand Bosses, Aaron Price, Esquire. Former 2nd District Representative, Marvin Dillard. If there's anyone I missed, please stand up so I can introduce you to the Brotherhood. Shout it out.
And you got one up there.
And I apologize for that because I was looking right in your face, Camille. Camille Knox, and I served on the Supreme Council. I should not have forgotten that one. He was an undergraduate intermediate representative as well as the 10th District Representative. Camille Knox. This is sure, last but not least, my favorite position.
Got one over there. Got one in the back.
Thank you. Thank you. Brother Alcindor Rogier, former Grand Keeper of Finance. Okay. And I have one in the back. Thank you. And welcome. Brother Joseph C. McKinney, former 3rd District Representative. Now, is anyone else in the back?
Yes, right here.
Which one? Father or son? Huh? We have Brother Darrell Comer, who was also undergraduate intermediate representative to the Supreme Council. Brother Comer, where are you? Thank you for coming. Also sitting in the reserve section was the 2nd brother that had the title National Executive Secretary, Brother Harold J. Cook. Thank you. I hope I haven't missed anyone else. If I did, please forgive me. We're going to have historical reflections at this time, and we regret to say that Brother Bernard E. Coulon, who had his plane ticket, was on his way here, was called back home because his wife is ill, so please keep his family in your prayers. So we're going to start with the 36th Grand Bossless, Lloyd J. Jordan, Esquire. And after Lloyd speaks, we'll bring Brother Patterson up, and Brother Fairchild will speak on behalf of Brother Coulon. I will ask you to please rise and welcome the 39th Grand Bossless, our own Dr. Andrew A. Ray.
You know, it's really kind of humbling to be here tonight. And I was just sitting there trying to think about, why was I here? And it's really, if you're sitting here thinking you're here because you desire to be here, then you're wrong. The only reason why you're here is because God allowed you to be here tonight. You know, I think about my journey here, and I think about how little things happen in the consequences of the path of our life, and you never know how it's going to turn out. See, I remember being a young high school student. We were hanging out on a Saturday night. One of our friends had gone to college, came back and said it was a college party, did we want to go? We had nothing to do, so we went to the college party. He said, now you all can't go in there and act stupid. You gotta act like you're in college. And so he said, people in college are into fraternities and sororities. They talk like this: high alpha, beta, kappas, you know, high alpha, high gamma, you gotta talk like that. So, you know, we didn't know. And spread around the room, don't act like you're young. And he said, and these fraternities, and he started naming some of the fraternities. He said, but there's this one tough group called the Omega Psi Phi fraternity called Qs. And it was a step show that night. I ain't never seen anybody step. I didn't know anything about it. Well, the alphas performed. What I've learned, the people were alphas and the kappas and everybody else performed. And they did their little thing, the room was packed. Then they called this group called the Qs, Omega Psi Phi fraternity. I didn't know what happened because the lights in the room went out. The whole room turned black. And then all of a sudden I saw these flashlights going, well, I didn't know it was flashlights then, but lights started going across the ceiling back. In fact, what I learned was a flashlight ripple. And when the light came on, it was like 25 men standing strong and tall and purple and gold. I said, whoever they are, I'm gonna be one of them. And so, that journey began that day for me. Could not wait to get to college. In fact, I was looking for colleges where there was Q chapters so I could go to them. It was, forget the academics, and it was where were the Qs. And then I remember going through, at that time, we had this thing called pledging. And not knowing how, out of a line of 20, me and my line brother were the only two who made it. It wasn't because of us, it's because of God. And I remember when we was going to my first district meeting, the very first district meeting, we took 32 brothers to our district meeting, the first time I could go to a district meeting. And we had about 50 pearls with us too. But stay with me. Well, they were trying to decide who was supposed to be the representative to the district meeting. And because I was the low man on the totem pole, they sent me to the store, because my line brother didn't come to that district meeting. They sent me to the store. So when I came back, they told me I had got elected unanimously to be the representative, and I had to go to all the meetings and take the notes. But let me tell you, and I thank them today if they were here. Because out of all those 32 brothers, I'm the only one that's here in this room tonight. And what they did for me and what God did through them was to tell me that I had a whole different path in my life, and that life was going to lead me to stand here on this night, the 100th celebration of this organization. Because I learned from going to that meeting that there was more to Omega than stepping. I learned we had an organization organization of strong men that were about doing things for society. That there was a structure to this organization, and that I owed more to the organization than the organization owed to me. So, as I sit here and think about why I'm here and why you're here, I didn't plan those things, God planned those things. We're here tonight to celebrate. We are here tonight. It's a good thing to celebrate. Come on, give it up for the celebration, because some of you all are not going to be at the next one. You can leave me your numbers, I'm going to tell you about it, because I plan to be there. We're here tonight because of Ernest, Frank, Oscar, and Edgar. 4 strong men that had a vision, 4 African-American men that had a vision, who executed that vision. We're here tonight for God has so created an organization that for years, for 100 years, it has shaped the nation, it has shaped the world, it has shaped communities, and it has said we were all going to be a mega man and serve, and that's why we're here tonight. Talk about the history, but I don't really want to go back there and start talking about the history. I think we've been living in our history far too long. You know, I don't want to sit there and talk about how in the early 1900s, a mega man went to President Woodrow Wilson and got him to create the Office of Negroes Training School. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about how when Brother Carter G. Woodson during that same period of time led the way for the study of African American life and history. And then how in the 1920s, I really don't want to talk about how in the 1920s, brothers like Langston Hughes and Carter G. Woodson led the way through the Harlem Renaissance. And in the 40s, brothers fought for health, housing, employment, and education of Negroes in the world. We all know that, so I don't want to talk about how Omegas did those things then. And how in the 50s, brothers fought against segregation and gerrymandering. Brothers like George Vaughn, Francis Dent, Spotworth Robinson, Wally Brandt. I don't want to talk about those brothers. And you know I don't want to take all day talking about how in the 60s, Omega men fought for civil rights. Our membership list sounded like who's who in American civil rights. Brothers like Benjamin Hoods, Jesse Jackson, Vernon Jordan, and many, many others. So I don't want to take our time to talk about that history like that. Because I'm concerned that if we get so wrapped up in that history, then we're not going to look forward after this rededication and understand our mission and going forward. See, everybody in this room has a responsibility to make sure that all the things we are proud of in these past 100 years continues to prosper in the next 100 years. Brothers, this new history starts tonight. This new history starts tonight. I mean it sincerely. And those of you who are here just to celebrate, who didn't do their part to get us here, this is your last celebration for me. Because we're not carrying you through the next 100. We want everybody after this rededication, and that right, Brother Grant, to understand you have a reason for being. That you have to earn your keep of being a mega man each and every day you rise. You have to rise with a purpose. See, everybody didn't get the opportunity, wasn't selected to wear that purple and gold. You know it's true. Some of your brothers wanted to become Qs. They players, they went through membership, they didn't make it. Your cousin, your best friend, I have 2 best friends that didn't make it. It broke my heart. But everybody's not supposed to be in this room. So for our next 100, we're going to start that history tonight. We're going to make sure that we get a Barack Obama reelected. We're going to make sure that African-American kids are best educated kids. That they know their history and their heritage. That they know that they are proud people and damn what they see on TV. We're going to make sure that we do those things which our founders got the mission from God directly and said, bring others on with you to continue this on. And if you read the history as set forth by Brother Love, and go through the true story, you see where that commitment was made to this university because the university did not want them here. But he said, and in talking to the school officials, said, well, how can I assure you? How can you assure me that others are going to be exactly like you? And he said, we will. So our history is what's in front of us. And I want each and every one of you to commit tonight, sincerely in your heart, that you're going to help make Omega's history, the history we're going to talk about in the next 200 years from now, because I'm going to be there, is a proud history, something we can all stand up for. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad to be here. God, thank God for letting us be here for this 100. Thank you so much, brother. Members of the Supreme Council, and to you, my brothers, happy birthday. You know, the Lord said he was somewhat humbled to be here. I am indeed humbled to be here, to have this opportunity on this occasion. As I look around the room, I see so many familiar faces. It reminds me of a story I heard a few years ago. There are a bunch of Omegas in heaven. God was having trouble with those Qs in heaven. So he pondered and he wondered, so he got on his tie line to hell, and he asked Satan if he had any Qs down there, and Satan said, I got a whole heap of them. And the Lord said, well, I'm having problems with them up here. They rip the pearls off the pearly gates. They've taken the gold off the golden streets. They're chasing the angels all over the place. And at this point, there was a whole lot of noise in hell. And Satan said to the Lord, hold on, let me see what's going on. And he stayed so long. When he got back, the Lord got curious. He said, Satan, what took you so long? He said, Lord, it's them damn Qs. They done put the fire out. What I would like to briefly talk to you about tonight is something that's very dear to me, something I had a chance to be a very integral part of as chairman of the committee who in 1975, November 16th, had the dedication of the 18,000 pounds of granite down in the valley, the Founders Monument. We don't have very much by way of history written that we can teach new members coming in, or we can read for our own edification about how that project got started and why it's there. So I want to briefly bring you up to snuff on that. It all began during the summer of 1972 when a bunch of us, we were all members of Kappa Psi at the time, decided that we would paint the basement of the frat house.
And if you know anything about the layout of the Omega House in those days, there was very little in the basement to be painted, because most of the walls were either paneling or brick. What little there was to be painted, the group of us who was there, and that group at that time was Little Bill Smith, William Smith, Paul Woods, Enoch Perry, Mickey Proctor, Cal Young, and a few others. And we decided we would paint the basement, and we spent the whole summer doing it. And actually what painting there was to be done, we probably could have done it 2 or 3 hours. But nevertheless, we were there the whole summer. We got the job finished. We did more imbibing in Omega oil and playing cards than we did painting. But one afternoon we were there, and Enoch Perry, Enoch, are you here? It was his idea that we erect a monument to our founders. Brother Cooper had just passed, and we had one remaining founder, and Enoch felt we, Washington chapters, since we're right here, should take the task of erecting a monument to our founders. But the idea lay dormant for about a year. After we left the frat house from painting and got our rest and sobered up, we forgot all about it. Well, about a year later, I thought about it, and I went to my mentor, because I was very, very close to H. Carl Moultrie. Most of you know I worked a lot of the grand conclaves in the old days with Brother Moultrie. He was truly my mentor. I went to him and we talked about it, and he encouraged the idea. So we formed a committee. The initial members of the committee was myself as chairman, Brother Kenny Brown, H. Carl Moultrie, Harold Cook, and Father Farrell. We thought the first thing we should do was get the proposal placed on the agenda at the Supreme Council to ensure consideration at the Phoenix Grand Conclave. So we started out with getting a design, and we enlisted the support of 2 members of Alpha Chapter who were both architecture students to design a memorial for us. And they both did, in the persons of Gary McIntyre, whose son is here in Howard now and is a member of the Alpha Chapter, and Brother Samson Boozer, Samson Patrick Boozer. And as most of you know from the name on the monument, the design we chose was that of Brother Boozer. Originally, the design was going to have the fraternity's colors, but when we got the granite that looked purple, it had a very pinkish tint to it. So you know we couldn't do that. So that's how we came about with the gray polished granite, because it looked more sophisticated. Once we got the design, Brother Kenneth Brown went around soliciting bids, and one company that we keyed in on was Falvey Granite Company up on Upshur Street Northwest, and we decided to go with them. They subcontracted to a company named Adams Granite Company up in Barr, Vermont. The cost was $15,000. I sat down with Brother Moultrie again and said, how are we going to finance this? We at first thought we would solicit contributions from the membership. We raised very little from that. Very little. Brother Moultrie, in his infinite wisdom, said we should not, well, he offered the suggestion, which we quickly embraced, that we should not keep this on a local level. We should go national with this. To the fraternity should assume the commitment of this monument. And the way we got the financing done was we put a line item in the budget that was going before the Phoenix Grand Conclave for approval. Brother Wendell Morgan was the National Budget Chairman. I wrote up a proposal, submitted to Brother Morgan, and at the Phoenix Grand Conclave in 1974, the budget was approved with a line item in it of $15,000 to erect the Founders Memorial. There was opposition to it. One of the persons who vehemently opposed it was the then Grand Keeper of Finance, Brother Clifton Moore. We got back to Washington after the Grand Conclave, the budget being approved, and Brother Moore still objecting, we don't have any money to do this, blah, 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 blah. And I was just waiting. Carl said, this is your moment. And I said, we're in a Supreme Council meeting. Brother Moore, have you read the budget? Of course I've read the budget. And there's a line item in there that was approved by the Phoenix Grand Conclave for $15,000 to erect a Founders Monument. I didn't see that. We pointed it out to him. He had egg all over his face. There was a huge acceptance on the Supreme Council for the monument. We then began to get a contract. And on January 25th, 1975, then Grand Bosses Marion Garnett signed a contract with the Falvey Granite Company on behalf of Omega to begin construction to erect the monument. On September the 14th, 1975, the monument was laid on Howard University's campus. We originally wanted to put it on the plot right in front of Thurkill Hall. And I have to say, the university, Dr. Owen Nichols, Dr. Carl Anderson, worked with us wonderfully. They embraced the idea. When they saw what we wanted to do, we saw the stone we wanted to put on, they encouraged us. And they suggested that where you see the monument now, we put it there because there was going to be a lot of construction around Thurkill, and they felt it would be a better view from 4th Street. It would be more visible. And we took the idea and went with it. Thus we are where we are. On September the 14th, when the monument was placed there, now I want to say this, and I want to be very clear to everybody. When the monument was placed there, we had no conception, no ideas, no direction to the contractors to place love on the east, to place perseverance on the west, to place Cooper on the south. You know, y'all have come up with all this big is facing this way, while this principal is facing that way. We had no direction to the construction people to do it in any such manner. So y'all can take all that Betty Crocker crap and now, historically, I hope I'm being very honest and clear with you tonight. So when somebody says love is facing this way because blah, 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 that's bull crap. Okay? So those challenges you have that are not in the ritual concerning the Baptist money, they are not so. On November 16th, 1975, we indeed had the dedication. There were over 1,700 brothers, family, friends, guests there, representing the founders' families. We had Mrs. Frank Coleman, we had Brother Love's son, John Love, Brother Jeff's daughter, Margaret Jeff's Butcher, and Mrs. Oscar Cooper, representing the founders' families. Brother Marion Garnett, Grand Bosses, gave the unveiling address. Another interesting aspect of this was we had a reception after the dedication, and we wondered how we were going to fund that. But when Frank Coleman died, he left $1,500 in his estate to the local chapter. Well, the Legal Eagle Beavers and Alpha Omega ran down to the courthouse and got that $1,500. Well, at that point, I had been in Alpha Omega maybe 2 or 3 years. And I have never, since I've been living in 12, I lived at 1231 for about 5 years, seen Brother Coleman at an Alpha Omega meeting or in the house. So I challenged Alpha Omega on why y'all went down there and got that money and thought it belonged to y'all. He said the local chapter. That could well have been Alpha chapter. Could well have been. So they placed the money in an escrow account and said we'll use it when something comes up that we can do for the founders. Well, that idea just lit up in my head, because here it is. I need $1,000 to do this reception. Now, the reception was done by the Muslims. There was a member of Alpha Chapter, Brother Benjamin X. Bozeman, who said, I'll do the reception for you and we'll feed the multitudes for $1,000. The only thing about it, we won't have any pork. That's fine. So we indeed did have the reception right downstairs here in Cramton Lounge, and we did not run out of food. Our 1,700 plus people got plenty food. If you don't believe me, ask Benjamin Livingston, because he never left the buffet table. That was probably, brothers, my crowning experience as a member of this fraternity, when I, as chair, was able to bring to fruition the idea that Enoch Perry gave us. I hope I've been a little bit helpful to you in telling you how and we got that down there. It took a lot of work. We had a lot of encouragement. I'll never forget leaving a Supreme Council meeting and Mitch Gaston, who was the 6th District Rep, said to me, Frank, I don't give a damn what you do. You just put that money in up come the fall, okay? And it was that kind of encouragement that made me go for it. Brothers, you laugh at that, but Mitch meant it. And it gave me what I needed to keep going. And I'm just proud of that monument down there. I hope you are. The university certainly gave us their blessings, and it took a lot of effort, a lot of time. I had a good committee. I had a damn good vice chairman in Kenny Brown. We got it done. And brothers, again, happy birthday.
Talk about when we moved the headquarters to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm gonna keep. I don't know anything about it. I'm gonna keep my comments short and sweet and straight to the point. We moved the headquarters from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you very much. I do want to say this, and I was listening to Brother Jordan's story about how he became an Omega man and what happened, what inspired him. Same thing happened to me. It must be something about that part of the world. They cut the lights out, and all of a sudden the brothers come with the lights and doors. That was a good thing. And cues and pearls, good experience. That's tight. Brothers, I just want to kind of let you know, there was a period of time when we decided that as a fraternity, I didn't decide it, so don't get mad at me. Okay, the fraternity decided that we want to look at other options as far as the location of the headquarters. There was much discussion on this thing. I think when I first started out with the discussion, I think I was a DR at the time. But by the time it actually happened, I was the Grand Keeper Breaker of the Seal. So you know what that meant. It was my responsibility to move it. Okay, it was a very interesting experience. Finally, we drew some conclusion. We checked out locations around the country. I I think we had one option in Tennessee, some in Texas. We had several locations that we were looking at. And finally, the decision was made to the Georgia Educated Association down in Atlanta, Georgia, was getting ready to sell their building. And there was some serious negotiating going on, and all of a sudden they thought they had quite a deal, and we decided that that was where we were going to go. Now, of course, I heard the expression that everybody had about moving the headquarters out of Washington. I still get a lot of questions about it. Again, like I said, it wasn't my decision. All I had, my job was just to execute it and make it happen. So if you want to throw bricks at anybody, throw bricks at yourself because y'all voted and did it. Okay? Give yourselves a hand for that. All right. I would just say this to you: the whole experience of moving headquarters was certainly a challenge. The idea that we were picking up a new building and the idea that we were going to do something a little different put us in a situation that made us look like we had some economic clout. The Deltas thought they were very impressed with what we were doing. And that building down there in Atlanta, Georgia, 82,000 square feet. We had several tenants. I think we had something like a 97, 98% occupancy rate. Looked real good. And it looked like we were really smart and really sharp. And I still think when you look at the purchase of the property and you look at the purchase of the building, it was a good move. Just in the wrong location. Should have been here in Washington. But unfortunately, they didn't have a location here that probably was cost effective to do it here. So they said that's the location to do it. So the date was set. We made offers to many of the staff. Some of the staff took the offer and went to Atlanta. Some of them just didn't. John Epps was the executive director at the time. We laid out a plan, mapped out a plan for the execution of the move. And the last day that when we took the shield down off the headquarters, how many of you remember what that date was? Because there was something happened on that, something significant happened on that day. Anybody remember? Million Man March. That's the day we took the shield down off the headquarters. Okay? And because I remember going to that march and then coming back up that hill, me and Brother Adam McKee. And that was a real challenge. But by the time we got up there, it was down. And of course, that was in. And then, of course, we proceeded to operate out of Atlanta, Georgia. And that's kind of it. And also, there was one thing we did attach to it, a very popular move by everybody. We decided that it would be a nice idea if all the brothers would pay $200 to help to pay the headquarters off. And you know we did pay the headquarters off, right? Okay, that's a joke. All right, but brother, I just want to say this to you. Let me just say this to you. It's this whole thing about the headquarters relocation. It's not just about the building. It's not about the fact that we pay for it. It's not about the fact that it's not here in Washington, D.C. It's who we are all about. It's what we represent. Okay? When people look at pictures of that building, they say that's Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. It is important that we respect ourselves. Okay? It's very, very important that we respect ourselves and that we stand up and live up to the creed that we say, manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift, and all those principles that we say we abide by. That's what's important. That will be reflected out at headquarters no matter where it is. We're doing some things right now, don't give yourself that. You know we're doing some things now where we have evolved through, I just think about my lifetime and experiences in Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Love this organization, as I know all of you do. Okay, but I've seen myself go through a lot of changes in this fraternity, trying to always give my best to Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. I'm asking everybody, I always talk about the potential of what Omega has, what Omega brings to the table. This organization is a powerful, powerful, powerful organization. I've seen us go through the business economic period of time when we did stuff. I've seen us go and address stop the violence. I've seen us do a lot of great things. Now we're on this fatherhood thing. Real important initiative. Absolutely important. It's important that everybody in here get involved in this thing. It's our image, it's our branding. That will be reflective out of that headquarters. Okay? That building is only a building. It's us. The live bodies sitting in here, the live bodies all around this country. So brothers, when you think about moving headquarters to Atlanta, Georgia, or Decatur, Georgia, don't just think about the building. Think about what you represent, what it represents. It represents us, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Long live the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Thank you.
It is indeed an humbling opportunity
for me to introduce to you our Centennial Address speaker for the evening. He was born in Centerville, Mississippi, where he began his formal education in a two-room church school. He completed his elementary and secondary education in the New Orleans, Louisiana public school system. He received academic distinction by winning bronze and silver medals in statewide competitions and graduated in the top 20 of his high school class. His post-secondary education includes a bachelor's degree in economics from Southern University, 3 master's degrees, and a PhD. He has demonstrated a lifelong commitment to learning through internships and study at 13 colleges and universities in the United States and the University of Ghana in West Africa. He earned the privilege of being selected as a Foreign Affairs Scholar in the Department of State and a Presidential Fellow in the United States Congress in Washington, D.C. His work experiences in education, industry, community, and government have earned him numerous honors, including the Martin Luther King Award, a Charles Drew Fellow, Urban League, Charles T. Lunsford Distinguished Community Service Award, Metropolitan Women's Network, and John W. Thompson Masonic Community Service Awards. He was a Regional Omega Man of the Year and United Church Ministries Man of the Year, Outstanding Teacher and Administrator of the Year. He was a recipient of multiple citations from cities and states across this country. The Educator of the Year for PRISM, which is a science and math program, Inroads Business Development, New State Administrators Association, the King Solomon and Prince Hall Masonic Orders, the Charles Banks Humanitarian Recognition, and the Frederick Douglass Award, and over 24 additional honors. From a fraternal standpoint, my brothers, 44 years ago today, he was initiated through the Beta Sigma chapter at Southern University in 1967 on, again, November 17th, 1967. He came in his chapter as Basileus immediately. His chapter had the number of 12 members when he came in. As Basileus, he led them to increase that number to 75. He also led them to be the undergrad chapter of the year. He also served as the 2nd district representatives. And now, my brothers, he has aspired to the position and has accomplished that as the 39th Grand Basileus of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Let's rise and receive Dr. Andrew A. Ray, our 39th Grand Basileus.
I'd rather be a man who failed than one who has never tried. I'd rather have attempted the mountaintop than to merely have stood aside. Let me hold my lofty dream and take my desperate flight. For even if I should fail, I know I tried to do what's right. I'd rather have failed and fallen in sorrow and despair, than to have stood in a place all safe and sure and never have faced a care. Some may try and label me with the failure brand, and some may even laugh at me. But even if I should fail, my God will know the man I tried to be. Good evening, my brothers.
Good evening.
My journey to this place starts with a thank you to you. You see, being grand bosses is not something that you inherit. It's not something that you own. It's something that the brothers convey on you. And that's why my motto, my stationery, my communication, it says this: the best grand bosses is one who never forgets what it is to be a grand brother. So as I stand here with you at this moment in time, I'm humble. Again, you heard a little bit of my bio, coming from a small town in Mississippi. And to stand here on the world stage as the grand bosses of this great fraternity is truly, truly, truly an experience. Let me tell you a little bit about how I got here, and then I'm going to share a few things with you, because I think Brother Frankie Patterson has already given you an address. I had the unique privilege of dialoguing with two of our founders before they entered Omega Chapter. Once as an undergraduate and once as a young graduate brother. And with tears in their eyes, we sat at their feet. And they said to a group of us, about 4 of us, said, young brothers, we gave birth to this fraternity, but it's going to be your responsibility to keep it alive. Don't let this fraternity die. Well, it was in Denver. I'd gone as still a young undergraduate, just a few years out of college. A report was given to the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. It was our audit report. Brother Ted Greer and Brother Bill Johnson and a few others. You recall that moment. At the time, my brothers, it said this: Pete, Mark, and Mitchell. The results of their audit stated that the way Omega Psi Phi fraternity was keeping books at that time was foreign to all known means of accounting. Now that was the result of the audit, independent audit. So, when that came across the microphone, I was sitting there, and those of you who've known me for a while, you know I had a massive afro, huge afro. And at the time, you didn't have to have on a suit and tie to be on the conclave floor. So there I was, massive afro, dashiki, beads, on the conclave floor. So when I heard that rendition read by Bill Johnson and Ted Greer, something seized me. I jumped up and ran to the mic, and Brother H. Carl Moultrie was running the meeting. And Brother H. Carl gave me that look he had. He said, brother, why do you approach the mic? I said, well, Brother Moultrie, from what we just heard, with all of this madness and confusion, Omega is in desperate need of leadership. Therefore, I nominate myself for Grand Bosses. And what happened happened at that moment, a brother in the audience said, I second that motion. So my brothers, that was my first run for Grand Bastards. So it's really saying something that I've come full circle. From being in Denver at the conclave, and by the way, that's in the minutes too. If you read the conclave minutes, we're in the minutes where I nominated myself for Grand Bastards. But that was my first attempt to live up to what the founders said to me. We need leadership. And my brothers, at this moment in time, I feel it was divine intervention because I can tell you this. You got leadership now. You're gonna see it. My journey to this position started some time ago. It started with a man in the audience, Brother Norman Johnson. He was introduced to you earlier. But Norman had enough confidence in me to appoint me quarter rep. And only a few years out of college, my first job was to go up to Syracuse University. He said there was some problems up there. I went up to Syracuse University. Come here for a moment, my brother.
Brother Jeff.
I went up to Syracuse University. That was the problem. When I walked in, representing the DR, my brothers and baddest all Omegas in the room. I walked in, there was a haze in the frat house. The smoke was very, very thick. All kind of madness was going on in that place. And I wonder what in the world did Brother Norman Johnson get me into. But eventually, I won't go into the details of what was happening, I won't tell you that. But we were able to get control of the situation, and that started my long march to leadership as a quarter rep. And what I did was, although I found him he was not correct then, 13 years later, I called in the marker, and I made him the graduate advisor at Cornell University. We turned it around. And then my brother says something. Oftentimes we have to look beyond what we see the first time. You don't necessarily have to judge a man in one season. You need to see him in multiple ways. So we want to carry that with us as we go forward. Let me share some other things with you. We're all blessed to be here for this 100. We are blessed to be here. How many people will be able to say that they have lived in 2 centuries of Omega? We have ended 1 century and we're about to launch a second. That's God's grace. And that long march has taken me a number of places. As a DR, as a committee man, working with many of the fine brothers on this stage. And I'll tell you this, in our march forward for this 100 years, we have to think about all the celebrations we have had. We celebrated everything this year. Galas, picnics, parties, barbecues, we've been celebrating everything. And at all the celebrations, we always speak so fondly of our esteemed founders. But you know, just speaking greatness will not make you great. it's going to be what we do. It's going to be what we do. We talk about the esteemed founders. But we have to ask ourselves a question. Brother Lloyd Jordan gave us a brief history, a brief walk back. As we celebrated even MLK on the mall. And he, of course, was an alpha man, but those of you who know Dr. King well, you know he often spoke of the man who gave him vision to move forward and take that courage. And that was Benjamin E. Mays. So as we celebrate all these great ones, the question becomes for us as Omega Men, where are we now? Where are we now? As I've been traveling around the nation, many of you have been kind enough to invite me, and I've been speaking at many of your banquets and celebrations. And I've adopted a message. And that message has been on my travels this year. Don't miss the handoff. Metaphorically, if you remember the Summer Olympics from before, both the male and female Olympic teams were expected to win. Both of them lost because they missed the handoff. We in Omega, my brothers, we can't miss the handoff. The founders ran their leg of the race with distinction. The founders gave us a hell of a lead. But no matter how good you run, your lane runs out. And there comes a time when, as your lane comes to an end, you gotta hand off. Now, the thing about handing off, if you miss it, not only do you lose, the whole team loses. Doesn't matter how good you were individually. If you miss the handoff, the whole team loses. My brothers, let's be honest. We've gone through a period of time when we missed the handoff. 100 years, the talented 10th. The smartest of our people. Have we missed the handoff? As we have this discussion with old school, new school, young brother, old brother, it troubles me because I don't buy that, because you know, this fraternity came together with the young and the mature. Right here on this campus. So we have to stop practicing this separation language. Back in the day, old school, that was back then. We are the only people that practice that language. And as we practice the separation language, what we have to remember is self-separation. It's self-destructive. Because the dialogue is not there. We don't talk to each other. It's not old school, new school. There's only one school, Omega. There's only one school, my brothers. Omega School. Our founders, in their infinite wisdom, so we don't miss the handoff, the only criteria they gave after a man having character and substance was men of like ideals. Whether you're 18 or 80, men of like ideals. We can't miss the handoff. Our founders gave us a little bit of foundation material. Manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. Now those of you who understand that, you know that forms a square. The founders often said, and by their life practices, meet every man on a plane and part on a square. Meet every man on a plane and part on a square. 4 cardinal principles. Form a square. Manhood. Our founders said, in my dialogue with them, they meant that there's a difference between being a male and a man. Being a male is a gift of nature. Being a man speaks to your character. Scholarship. Being smart enough to know that the mind is the measure of the man. But not being so aloof as to miss that many times you will learn your best lessons from some man or some woman who has no degree at all. Perseverance. Pressing on, no matter what the challenge is. Never quit. Never give it up. No matter what you face. Perseverance. And uplift. Never looking down on a man unless you're extending a hand to help him up. Our founders in their infinite wisdom squared Omega to meet every man on that plane. Let me share some other thoughts from our founders so we don't miss the handoff. Are we self-aggrandizement or is it self-aggregation? Oftentimes when we get to these, especially, and these I'm not speaking particularly about my brothers because these are some good men, but I'm going to tell you something. Oftentimes when we get to these offices and we become DRs and we wear the mantle of leadership, oftentimes self-aggrandizement takes the place of self-aggregation. Self-aggregation, as you know, is self-sacrifice. So we don't miss the handoff. Look deep into the eyes of the man that you put leadership to. What about concomitant relationships? I think you've heard that before. Somewhere I read that there are some concomitant relationships with us as Omega men. And the concomitant relationship between manhood and scholarship, perseverance and uplift. Large Catholic and loving spirit. Did you know that Catholic in our ritual, in the original form, was spelled with a lowercase c? The lowercase c spelling of Catholic didn't refer to the Catholic religion. The lowercase c spelling of Catholic meant universal. Omega meant a universal man. Men of all seasons. Men of all seasons. That friendship. That friendship. We're going to talk about that a little bit shortly. What it means to be a friend.
Wow.
What it means to be a friend. I know I don't have to give you too much because we are men of like ideas.
You give him too much.
But as we march forward to this second 100 years, my brothers, I want you to keep something in mind. You see what is going to bind us together? What's going to move us forward? It's not because there's a constitution. It's not because there's a code of conduct. What binds us together is our esprit de corps. See, we are Omega Men because we want to be Omega Men. See, Omega, being an Omega, it's a feeling, it's a state of mind. It's an understanding that you have. Being Omega is the way we walk, we talk, the way we carry ourselves. That's what the founders were about. Imagine when they said to the university officials right here on this campus, when they offered them to join another organization, they said, no. We don't see in those what we want to be. Think about it. Talking to university officials at the turn of the century. Imagine that time. Black man's life meant nothing. Nothing. But they had the courage. They had the fortitude. They had the will. They had it to say we're going to stand the storm until we get what we want. But they couldn't just say that. They were the best on the campus. Smart, character, courage. And you know what I found out? What really led me to become an Omega Man? Because I'll just share this with you. The Alphas, Kappas, and Sigmas. Because I was the man on the yard of 7. They offered to pay all of my fees if I would join them. Now, I was a poor boy from Hard Time, Mississippi, so I had no money. But I said no. I wanted to be an Omega Man. Because you know what I read and then I found out in talking to our founders? It was the first fraternal organization, the first black fraternal organization that said, we want men not because of their bloodline, not because of their social economic status. The founder said we look for the character of the man. That was important in the South because you know something? Some of you from Louisiana, Mississippi, now some of y'all may not want to say you from Mississippi, Louisiana right now because everybody's rolling large. But you know, they used to have the brown bag test. And those of you who don't know, you know, if the party was rolling in the city of New Orleans and other places, there was a brown paper bag hanging on the door. If you appeared there and you were darker than that paper bag, you couldn't come in the party. I had a big afro, but it's kind of gone now working for Omega. But at the time, they had the fine-tooth comb test. You went to the party and that comb couldn't go all the way through your hair, you didn't get in the party. But what I found out was that the Omega men in my life, my coach, my teachers, I didn't know they were Omegas, but it was just something about them. It was just something about the way they carried themselves, the way they did business. I just looked up to them. I found out later that they were Omega men, but I didn't know it then. And that just confirmed what the founder said. As an Omega man, you're set apart for consecrated service. So we have to take that to heart. We can't be common. We can't do things to bring this fraternity down. We can't say that we love Omega if you're delivering us to the courthouse. Can't say it's tradition that we always in the courthouse. We can't say it's tradition that we pay more now for lawsuits, medical bills than we do for scholarship, one of our cardinal principles. That's not tradition. It's not tradition. Can't say it's tradition when you hurt somebody. It's tradition when you like Brother Cooper and you can heal somebody. We have got to face up to that. I know about pleasure. I know about it all. I don't mind telling you, I was online for a year and a half. Went online with a 3.7 and came offline with a 2.4. We have to get back to saying we're about scholarship, so I should have gone online with a 3.7 and came off with a 4.0. And I'll tell you this, my brothers, that we can't let happen again. We have gone through pledging, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, intake, MSP. I'm gonna tell you something. If you keep changing your core, you can't identify who you are. The mistake that we have made, my brothers, is that we, as a fraternity, we have been backing up, backing up, backing up. We have been allowing conditions to define who we are. My brothers, I'm going to share this with you, and then we're going to close, because there's some other things we want to do on the program. But I want you to know something. I said to you when I ran for Grand Bosses, I was going to be transparent. I was going to be straight with you. I'm going to always tell you the news. Sometimes the news may not be good news, but you need to know the news. I'm going to tell you this. I have directed my team. We're not going to back up anymore. You see, I have a black mafia mentality. And that black mafia mentality says this: you mess with the family, we're gonna get you. Nobody is greater than the family. And all of you who are out there now with sons and grandsons and nephews and so on, we want this organization to be here when they come through. So as our founder said, we have to take Omega and carry Omega. We have to define Omega. I heard Brother Frankie P say something that was so important. We can't go around this country saying if you were made in New York and you go down to Atlanta If you can't pass by what I asked you, then you're not a Q. We can't have individuals defining Omega. Can't have it. Omega says who an Omega is. And I was recently challenged by an individual who said, Brother Grand, you don't understand tradition. I asked the brother, I said, my brother, how deep are you in the tradition? He said, I went over in 09.
That sound like red.
I said to the brother, my brother, I can appreciate you, and I accept you as my brother, and I can assure you that I know tradition. I said, because you know what? I'm the tradition. I'm the tradition. You're the tradition. You are now taking that hand off to run the next leg of this race. We have to be firm in that. It's not putting anybody down. It's lifting Omega up. Because every time we make the paper, every time we do something, brothers, you need to know this. The compromise is what we can do. If you tear the chandeliers out of a hotel ceiling in Louisiana, they know about it in New York because all the hotels share information. The compromise is what we can do. It costs us more to go places. We cannot allow anyone to define this fraternity any longer. We must do it in the spirit of our founders. It's not a convenience. The founders didn't stand as tall, proud men for us to let somebody lose it all. And one thing I can tell you, my brothers, and those of you who are officers who've been to court and had to testify, you need to know you can't sing Omega Dear and get out of there. The jury's not hearing it. All he wants to know is what are the facts. So going forward, my brothers, as we take this mantle, and we run this next leg of the race for our founders, we have to do so with fidelity. We have to do so with true honor. We have to do so in a way that says to the whole world, we are proud men. We are strong men. We are men who make a difference. Benjamin E. Mays said this: men, when you go out into the world, be prepared. Prepare yourself well. So when someone is looking for an outstanding individual to do a job, they'll feel compelled to examine your credentials. He said, let no man dismiss you with a shrug of his shoulder or wave of his hand. That means you got to be ready. Now, my brothers, I'm going to say this to you as your grand bosses. My vision is to make this fraternity not good, but exceptional. As we have moved forward, I want you to know it's changing our fare. Not only the partnership with the White House, but the GE for Life. We started off with 3 men, undergraduates in that program. We now have 40. We're changing. We're changing. And what we're going to do, brothers, going forward, you're going to see more investment in scholarship, more investment in turning this fraternity around, more investment in our imaging. Because we represent you, you represent us, we represent our founders. And my brothers, now as the founders round the bend for this first 100 years, as they take the curve really, really, really strong. They're coming up close on us in this next leg to take it home. We got to be ready to take the baton. My brothers, let's do so. Let's do so proudly. Let's do so for our founders. Let's do so for you, your brother, and all of Omega. We can be different. We will be different. I thank you, my brothers.
Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, 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 we love to see you in the morning. Zoom, 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 zoom.
Well, 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 striving is so hard to make Omega. It's so hard to make Omega. It's so hard to make Omega. Psi Phi, well, 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 sweat blood, we sweat blood and tears. Sweat blood and tears. Sweat blood, sweat blood.
With faith in God. looks good, baby.
Might be hard. Let's say try to get this picture.
I'm standing Carteret down, bro.
Get it right here, right?
Get it.
Get it right here.
Want to get it right here?